All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today we're going to be talking about 3 Yieldmax ETFs that we are going to split $100,000 into and then see what kind of annual and monthly income we can achieve. So the 3 Yieldmax funds we're going to talk about today are going to be YMANG, YMAX, and we're also going to be talking about ULTY. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you a brief overview of what exactly these 3 ETFs are, because they are a little bit different from the standard Yieldmax strategy of investing or kind of doing synthetic cover calls over one underlying stock, but most of these ones go through many underlying stocks. So that's what I want to talk about in this video, what exactly YMANG, YMAX, and ULT is. I'm going to take $100,000 and we are going to divide that by 3, and we are going to be investing $33,333 into each of these companies. So I hope you guys do enjoy it. Let's see exactly how much annual income and monthly income we can produce from these 3 Yieldmax ETFs, and I love to show you a little bit more because I did a little bit of homework on each of these Yieldmax ETFs. So if you guys do enjoy, we're up to 4,315 subscribers. We're growing subscribers every day extremely fast, so I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. I hope you guys are enjoying these Yieldmax videos. So today, what I want to start off with is let's start off with YMANG. I want to tell you a little bit about what it is. We'll tell you a bit about the dividend yield, and then we will get into the calculations of these 3 ETFs. So YMANG is the Yieldmax Magnificent 7 Fund of Option Income ETFs. Basically, what this fund does is it's invests in the underlying, not the underlying companies, but in the underlying Yieldmax ETFs. So basically, YMANG holds 7 Yieldmax ETFs, those being Amazon, the Amazon Option Income Strategy ETF, Apple, Meta. You also have Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. So those are the 7 Yieldmax ETFs that YMANG holds. You can even see that right here as well. And basically their performance is solely based off of the Yieldmax performance of the Apple ETF, the Amazon ETF, the Google ETF, etc. Right? So this is really the ultimate tech Yieldmax ETF because it's holding all these different tech companies. And so that's kind of the basis of YMANG. That's what YMANG invests into. And it produces a 34% dividend yield, nothing crazy. And when we look at the stock price chart, you could see that most of the Yieldmax ETFs, they all IPO at about $20. So it's up about 50 cents. And it looks to me that they actually paid a dividend. Did they pay a dividend? Yes, they paid 2 dividends. So if you bought the stock at $20, you'd be up on your dividend a few percent or so because they paid out about $1 in dividends already. So that's something to think about with YMANG. Moving over to YMAX, just a little overview before we get into it. All the calculations. So we got the Yieldmax Universe Fund of Option Income ETFs, YMAX with a 31.7% dividend. What does YMAX do? YMAX is interesting because YMAX is like an ETF. I'm pretty sure it invests in a bunch of ETFs. Let's see what we got here down below. Yes. So YMANG and YMAX are pretty similar. YMANG is like the tech ETF for Yieldmax, and YMAX invests in a bunch of other Yieldmax option income strategy ETFs, like their AI option income strategy ETF. They have AMD, Amazon in there as well, Apple's in there as well, Coinbase is in there as well, Disney's here, Meta, and Google, and JP Morgan. So these are the underlying companies that make up YMAX. You could see here they paid about 2 dividends, about 56 cents respectively. They have a slightly less dividend yield, but let's check that share price. Their share price is slightly higher at $21.38. So for the total performance of this ETF, they have appreciated over time and they've paid some decent dividends. They're nothing crazy, but they're pretty good dividends considering that the stock price has actually appreciated a couple dollars or so. So that's pretty good. So those are kind of the underlying for YMAX. I'm not sure if this changes over time. I try to kind of look through here. It says something about the distribution rate is calculated by multiplying the ETF's distribution per share by 12. Okay, that's just explaining the dividend yield pretty much. But yeah, what I found is that this company will look to invest in Yieldmax ETFs as well. I'm not sure if these are going to change. It looks like they are all staggered in weighting a little bit. The Yieldmax ETFs actually have pretty equal weighting, but I see something here, First American Government Obligations Fund. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but all the Yieldmax weightings look very similar in terms of their market cap and then also their weighting. So that's something good to see. But moving to the next one, we have ULTY, the ULTY, which is the Yieldmax Ultra Income Strategy ETF with a 71.74% dividend, the highest dividend yield here. And ULTY, we kind of went over it yesterday in yesterday's video, but basically what ULTY does is it is going to invest in a bunch of ETFs. And I'm hoping that I can kind of find that here. I'm not sure, but it invests in a whole bunch of underlying stocks and ETFs. It said it's not going to invest in less than 15 securities. So it says here, we'll typically select between 15 and 30 underlying securities, primarily on the basis of such securities' implied volatility levels, and will regularly review ULTY's portfolio to determine whether one or more of its covered call strategies should be increased. So basically with ULTY, they are running a covered call strategy. It's different from YMANG and YMAX because in YMANG and YMAX, these are all synthetic covered calls. They don't own anything in the underlying, but with ULTY, they are owning the underlying because they're only writing covered calls, not synthetic covered calls. Covered calls meaning they must own the underlying stock. And so they'll be looking to own 15 to 30 underlying securities, all based on how much volatility they have, because the volatility will determine how much call premium they can collect. And it says they will regularly review ULTY's portfolio, meaning that they're going to be managing the portfolio, selecting these 15 to 30 stocks and potentially switching in between 15 to 30 different stocks every once in a while. And you can see here, it looks like they have coin in here. I'm not really sure what they have. I'm not really sure what I'm reading here because even these weightings are very small. So it's a little unclear as to what ULTY invests in at the current time period. I'll try and do a little bit more research, but I hope that gives you a little bit of a better idea. They're going to own all the underlying funds, and they're going to look for companies with different implied volatility levels to kind of service to that cover call strategy. Now, the part that you guys have all been waiting for, and okay, one thing as well, ULTY has also gone down a little bit in share price. I do want to put that out there, but the time that you've all been waiting for, we are going to take $100,000 and we are going to invest that across 3 different Yieldmax funds. So what I want to do here is take this $33,333 and multiply each by the dividend yields of each of these ETFs. So we got 34.44. We are going to be exact on the nose here. So 34.44. So from a 33,300, I'm just going to say that investment in YMAG at 34%, we're looking at about $11,000 per year, which is pretty fantastic. Now we're going to add another 33,333 times the YMAX dividend yield of 31.70. And let's see what we get here. 3170. Boom. So we get, now we're up to 22,000 by investing $66,666. Okay. Now we're going to ULTY with a 71.74% dividend. So this is going to be the real kicker of the portfolio here. This should really boost our total annual and monthly income. So we got 71.74. Beautiful. So this, out of $100,000, if you were to invest $100,000 split across these 3 Yieldmax ETFs, you're looking at about $45,959. What we're going to do is we're going to divide that by 12 because we want to get our monthly income, and it's looking at about $3,829. So if you were to invest and split $100,000 across YMANG, YMAX, and also ULTY, you're looking at about $3,000 to $4,000 every single month. The best case scenario would be these companies all appreciate from their IPOs and you're still receiving this $3,800 every single month. And of course, this dividend is subject to a lot of fluctuations within the distribution rate of these ETFs because it's all dependent on what the underlying stocks in these Yieldmax ETFs do. But $3,800 is what you could have expected for the month of April, which is very cool to see. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please remember to subscribe. We're up to 4,315 subscribers. I hope this video served you well, gave you guys some value. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video for more.